Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that it has been a wonderful beginning to the week, and we have got we have a lot to celebrate as a community, and we also have a lot of very, very interesting news to dive into today. So I am glad for everyone that has made it because this might be a particularly interesting stream just to go on account of what's going on in the world, but. What is up, Lee? Saying, hey, buddy, look forward to seeing you soon live. No, glad that you made it, Lee. Glad that you made it. And of course, Kukla, we are so glad to have you back. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I know that you had so much planned, so many awesome things to do. And so I hope that it all went swimmingly. But we are definitely glad to have you back with us. Oh, what's up, Grandma Sally? Oh, and Deborah Muse Wolf says here in hot and sunny Arizona. That tends to be the normal weather to my knowledge over there in Arizona. Deborah, do you have many days where it's not hot and sunny? I do appreciate the regular. It's nice when you live in a place where each time you go outside, you don't think about what you need to put on. You just walk out. Same thing you would have worn 3 months ago, you wear each day. There's something convenient to not having to think about or check the weather report. What is up, Dwayne? Oh, and Jeremy, thank you so much. And yeah, we get Jeremy back on account of baseball being canceled today. So super glad to have you here with us, man. Oh, hey there. Oh, there it is, David. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Thank you very much for joining in. And good evening there, Donna. An overcoming victory and Sandy. And of course, an excellent point there, Kukla. Thank you so much for posting that one. Everything that is expressed in the Crazy Cryptonaut live streams, recorded videos, Twitter, or anywhere else is for entertainment and education purposes only, and should not be in any way construed as financial advice. Please do consult a professional financial advisor before making any major decisions with your financial future. I sound like, or I feel like one of the like advertising, the person at the end that speed reads the disclaimer when you're getting the late night infomercial. Yeah, that's what I feel like going through it, but it is important. And thank you so much, Kukla, for keeping me out of trouble. Hey, what is up, everybody? And so Georgie Porgy says, trying to close out a Zoom account and move reserve to Ledger, but does not allow any other suggestions. Georgie, Zoom is actually a new one for me. And so I will pull that up over here and see what I cannot learn about that one. But that's a new account for me. So I will be looking into that one, Georgie. So hopefully I can get you an answer, because there's got to be a way. If Zoom is a legitimate company, there's got to be a way for us to get your crypto out of there, and we will figure out how. Oh, hey there, Pirate and Mile High Trish. Thank you guys so much for joining. And Maria. Oh, thank you, Kukla. Good job, Zester. You have a good radio voice. Hey. I got the voice for radio. Unfortunately, radio, everybody wants the camera on nowadays. I feel like we've all gotten spoiled by the days and ages of streaming and being able to see somebody's facial reaction. But I still appreciate the spoken word, and I still enjoy listening to some podcasts and some radio shows. Oh, Kukla, how is our sweet Tino? Our sweet Tino is currently sitting in his house sleeping. Per the usual for Tino. He's being a bum. He is being a bum. All right, though. I have got that Zoom app up, so I will be checking that out later, Georgie. But otherwise, we're going to jump into a bit of the news for the day, because we do have some really big ones that people need to be aware of. What could be coming. There's a lot that could be about to happen, and we really need to make certain that everyone is aware of it so that everyone can make their own decisions about what they want to do with their crypto. Well, I'll let everybody see and see what y'all think of it as we get to that point. But otherwise, let's go ahead and jump in to the basics. What are we looking at in terms of the market? So we have had a genuinely positive day. It's a little bit down from where it was earlier. We were looking at Bitcoin trying to actually test 65 and 66. We ended up getting kicked back down. There's still a lot of people trying to sell. A lot of people. And so there's still major sell pressure occurring right around 65,000. I imagine it's going to take a little bit of effort for us to actually break out. Otherwise, the vast majority of the rest of the market is just following directly with Bitcoin. Where we're not really seeing anybody diverge besides XRP and Solana. Solana has been on a tear. And I think that, in all honesty, is really just comes down to the fact that Solana saw its price depreciation. It saw its correction occur before Bitcoin. And so Solana had already kind of gone through the point of greed and fear, where people were selling, they were taking money out. It occurred earlier than it has with Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of the other ones. And so it's recovering at a faster rate, a much, much faster rate than everybody else. 14.8% on 7 days. XRP, though, is looking strong, much stronger than Ethereum and Bitcoin at the moment. 3.2% in the past 24 hours. Not too shabby at all. Otherwise, as we look through the market, we're seeing a lot of similarities in terms of it. Everybody is following Bitcoin. You've got a few people that are kind of breaking out, but mainly we're seeing the normal thing occur here where the price of Bitcoin is affecting the market per usual. But there's going to be a lot we actually jump into today about that whole price of Bitcoin, guys. This one may be a somewhat alarming stream for some as we look at some of the different information that is coming out. And we're going to have a bit of a story time tonight, guys. So we're going we are going to be going through and learning about the story of MountGox. I don't know how many people in the community have actually heard of MountGox. MountGox was the first ever Bitcoin exchange. This was back over a decade ago. I think they were operating from like 2011 to 2013 or 2014. I'll have to check. I'm certain one of the articles we go through today will end up having that date on there, but they were hacked. This was over a decade ago. MountGox was originally, it was a website designed for trading Magic the Gathering cards, collectible cards. The guy that ran the site decided that there was a lot more interest in Bitcoin back then than there was in his trading cards. So he switched the exchange to being an exchange for Bitcoin back in the time when there was nowhere else to really actually go out and buy Bitcoin. He had created the service, and this made it the most popular service on the planet. I think they controlled over like 70 or 90% of all Bitcoin transactions back in those days. Keep in mind, Bitcoin was worth pennies back then. Maybe $1, maybe $2, $3. I think at its high, while it was on MountGox, it might have been worth, $15 per Bitcoin. And so a very, very different time in terms of everything that was going on. Needless to say, MountGox back then was hacked. When it was hacked, the vast majority of people's funds on the exchange were stolen. Now, fast forward 10 years later, back away from this crazy little tiny exchange that didn't really have any importance back then in terms of the amount of money because Bitcoin wasn't worth near what it is today. And now they're finally going to start paying back everybody who had their Bitcoin stolen off of MountGox. That means that we are about to potentially see something kind of crazy occur. Will MountGox payouts spark Bitcoin crash? So, given some of those who owed money for 10 years were among BTC's earliest adopters, there are fears of a mass selling event that could occur. There's a black cloud looming over the crypto markets, the ghost of a crypto exchange that collapsed over 10 years ago. MountGox once handled over 70% of the world's Bitcoin transactions, but went under after up to 850,000 BTC were stolen in an audacious hack. The doomed Japanese trading platform went bankrupt in 2014, and its users, many of whom were early Bitcoin adopters, these are people that were mining Bitcoin on their home computers. They were buying Bitcoin off of sketchy websites and all kinds of other things. Bitcoin was essentially worthless, but they believed in it and they were buying it. And as early adopters, their Bitcoin was stolen. This is in part due to the painstaking efforts to recover some of the stolen crypto. About 142,000 BTC has now been recovered and is set to be distributed to creditors. So, people who owned Bitcoin over 10 years ago, back in 2014, 2013, when it was worth nothing, they've been waiting 10 years to get their Bitcoin back. They are now getting their Bitcoin back. Keep in mind that it was worth maybe $6 or $7 a coin back then. So they have been on paper millionaires for years. They were millionaires for years and they didn't have access to their Bitcoin. And now they're getting their Bitcoin back. And there's a general fear in the market that these people that have been waiting that long are going to get their Bitcoin and they're going to start selling it because, well, they've been millionaires for years and weren't able to access their money. So there's a general guess that they may be extremely, extremely willing to start selling quickly. Now, there's more to be said here because keep in mind, only about 142,000 of the Bitcoin has been recovered. Remember, 850,000 Bitcoin was stolen. But that means that 142,000 Bitcoin is now set to be released back onto the market. This could be an absolute nothing. These are early adopters. They may not choose to sell any of the Bitcoin that they newly acquire. Or they may be very excited to start living the lives of millionaires, and they may immediately start to sell out the Bitcoin that they are rewarded with. Keep in mind, for them, they're up thousands of percent. If you bought at $6, you were up 1,000x at $6,000 Bitcoin. That means these guys are not just kind of up on their investment. They've made an absolute fortune. And there are talking heads all over the space going back and forth, trying to predict how these people are going to react to their newfound wealth. Some of the payments have started to go out. But keep in mind, only 142,000. And so this means that many victims will not be made whole. But they can take some comfort in the fact that Bitcoin's worth substantially more than it was a decade ago. In dollar terms, they'd still be up on their investment, albeit not as rich as they would have been. What's more, the BTC hard fork in 2017 also means they'll be entitled to a chunk of Bitcoin Cash. Compensation is due to be paid to creditors by October, ending a long-running saga after repeated delays. Of course, these photos and everything else from the people that were out front of MountGox back in 2014 are throwbacks for the crypto community. But MountGox customers have been sharing updates on how their claims are progressing through a specially created subreddit. And there was frenzied excitement on April 22nd when some accounts were updated. Some have already received an early lump sum repayment in cash, and others have been told how much Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash they can expect to receive. In a recent report, K33 Research argued that this 142,000 BTC haul, worth about $9 billion at current market rates, could become a negative price contributor in the weeks to come. This is based on fears that those who are finally reunited with their crypto will immediately swap it for fiat, ramping up selling pressure in the market. The MountGox investment fund, the creditor that's owed the most, has confirmed it's got no plans to offload the Bitcoin it receives. And so this is kind of where people are at. People are in a debate. Do they think that these MountGox, these early adopters of Bitcoin, do they think that they're going to start selling, or do they think they're going to hold? This is leading to a lot of people having, well, let's just say raucous conversation and discourse over the subject. People are adamantly on each side of the debate. Do they believe that people that have waited this long are going to still believe in Bitcoin and are going to know that it's going to go higher and they're going to hold? Or are we about to see $9 billion of Bitcoin sold? $9 billion is a lot of money. That would be enough to make a huge change in terms of the market. And if we look at it from just a market cap perspective, 9 billion doesn't seem like a lot when you're talking about Bitcoin having a market capitalization of $1.25 trillion. 9 billion doesn't sound like a lot. But remember, when we talk about how the market works, that there are a lot of leveraged traders in between. There are a lot of people that are gambling. $9 billion in immediate sales could result in the liquidation of $100 billion of leveraged trades very, very easily. So that is a major influence and a major talking point right now in terms of the crypto markets. It's something for us all to keep in mind, is that we do essentially have a variable out there that we can't predict. We have no idea how these holders are going to react. Now, of course, we've got from the Reddit community they're in. Just curious, how many will sell after payout? We all do not know where price will be when payout happens. Just take current price as the best indicator. Don't take this poll too seriously. We see that of the 357 votes, 162 said, I will hold almost all BTC. 46, I will hold more BTC than I sell. Keep in mind, guys, these are all millionaires. This is a poll of millionaires. They're all about to be overnight millionaires. Now, 41, I will hold, so I sell approximately 50%. 16, I will sell more BTC than I will hold. 92, I will sell almost all of my Bitcoin. Is this a true indication? Who knows? Who knows? But we still do see that the largest group is planning on holding on to their Bitcoin, regardless of the price that they are giving it at. And that in and of itself, that's a reassuring sign. That's a reassuring sign, but we don't know. We do not know. And that is going to lead to a lot of people being very, very worried about making any large decisions in terms of Bitcoin, because as I have discussed and as we have talked about many times, if the price of Bitcoin goes down, everything else goes down with it. Your XRP will go down at pretty much the same rate or a faster rate than Bitcoin's price does. Your XLM, your Ethereum, your Chainlink, your anything will go down at essentially the same rate. And so we do have to, at this point, I think, take a little step back and consider the fact that maybe there is about to be a fire sale where we do see the market take an immediate plunge when these people continue to get paid out. I think for many people here who have been currency holders for many, many years, you can probably directly understand the mentality of these people that have been waiting 10 years to get their Bitcoin back. They have watched on paper as they became extremely wealthy. Now they're finally going to get their money. How do y'all think they're going to react? I'm genuinely curious. What does everybody that's listening tonight think these holders would do. It's been 10 years. They've been millionaires on paper. Now they suddenly will be actual millionaires. Do you think they're going to sell their Bitcoin, sell their crypto, or do you think they're going to settle in and responsibly hold on to their investments? I would be curious to see. All right. Yep. Pirate too godly. I'd pay my debts, buy a bass boat, and hold the rest. I think that's kind of the way I would look at it, Pirate. I would want to no longer have any more worries. So all debts off, pay off the house, anything of that nature. And then I'd want something that I had been waiting for. You know, I'd want something. And then hold the rest because, yeah, in the long run, they could infinitely become, infinitely become generational wealth. If they sell everything and just start buying Ferraris and fancy houses and mansions, then that wealth will die with them. That's not generational wealth. I imagine that a lot of them are probably smart enough to at least consider the idea of generational wealth. But who knows? When you get that much money deposited into your bank account out of nowhere on one day, and you've been waiting so long, it would be hard. It would be so difficult. I can see the argument for these people to just go, screw this. I'm a millionaire now. I'm going to go live the fancy life. Mile Trish says some will, some won't. Yeah. I'd say that's probably it's probably accurate. We're going to see probably some news stories about some guy going out and wrecking his Lambo on the first day that he bought it. And then probably we'll also hear about the people who get together and start funding amazing projects and start buying businesses and start creating a future that's different. Grandma Sally says, sell some, but keep most of it. They can see the future. That's true, Grandma. These were people that saw Bitcoin when everyone else said they were crazy. Everyone else in the whole world, much of us also looked at them and said, y'all are nuts. Y'all are buying crazy internet money. No one cares. No one's ever going to care. Go buy something that's useful. And they didn't. They believed. They saw that Bitcoin was going to be the future. And they saw it when no one else did, or when the vast majority of other people did. So I would have to imagine that these are far more educated or maybe visionary people than just the average. Donna Thompson, I think they will diversify. Yeah, I would. I would be so excited to diversify. If I knew that I was that wealthy in crypto, I would be trying to buy real estate. I'd be trying to buy gold. I'd be trying to buy silver. I would be trying to get anything and everything besides crypto, because it would be, after waiting 10 years, you would be immediately inclined to want to diversify. So I think that makes sense. What would you do, Zester, if you were sitting on 40 million? I probably would sell 20 million of it and buy gold, silver, and property immediately. Probably would. I know that I would never actually, if I had that many Bitcoin, I would never actually sell over half of them. But I would start selling. I'd probably look at more like a 25%. I'd probably try to take 10 million out, absolutely shuffle that into gold, silver, property. And then from that point, I'd probably diversify my Bitcoin holdings into things like Ethereum or Pax Gold, tokenized gold and silver. I would try to immediately get some of it split off, maybe even hold $1 million or $2 million in stable coin, just so that I was ready if the market continued to tank or something of that nature. Overcoming, some will sell some of it and keep the rest. Yeah. I would imagine that the majority are going to be, everybody's going to sell some. You'd be crazy not to. Yeah. sell 1/3 or half, just like mini needing RV to improve things. Everyone has needs. Yeah, Bear. I mean, these guys have spent a vast degree of their past 10 years spending their savings account, spending their everything on legal fees, on trying to fight this. So they don't just have the money that is lost. They also have the time. And I imagine for many of them, they view that time as being very, very valuable, which I agree. Yeah, no, that's probably the most accurate prediction there, Gary 7. Gary says it is hard to predict the shock of wealth. Absolutely. I mean, look at 99% of all lottery winners. They're all broke. The average person being given a ton of money does not tend to result in their life improving. I know that there were some different studies that were done on lottery winners that it said that over half of them wish they had never won. It made their life worse. It made them depressed. It upset. It made everything worse. And so if we see that with lottery winners, I have to imagine we would probably see that in this type of situation as well, where a lot of people are going to spend all of it on, frivolous things. Their families are all about to come begging them for money. Everybody that's ever known them is about to give them investment advice for some kind of crazy project that's going to burn bridges with friends. It's going to burn bridges with family. Wealth is far more than just a bunch of numbers on the screen. It seems, judging by the statistics, to be a bit of a burden. Talk of crypto regs making progress. We will see what happens with Ripple by September 24th. We have seen a lot of information on regulations also coming out. And Kukla, invest in metals for sure. And absolutely. Pirate to Godly. You would be correct. That'd be the guy to call for it. Yeah. Edward says I'd sell 75%, buy gold and silver. Then when it drops dramatically, turn and sell 25%, buying any of the different tokens that are ISO 20,022 compliant. Hey. Yeah. Oh, that everybody. So we've seen a lot of different opinions here. It seems as if most everybody though is guessing that they're not going to sell everything. They're probably not going to sell everything. Yeah, pirate, that would be the smart thing to do. I wouldn't tell anyone. I'd say my long lost uncle left me this house. Yep. Michelle New Zester, I just sent my message for you to a neighbor. I wonder what they just got. Wonder what that message entailed. They might be a bit confused, Michelle. They might be a bit confused at the moment. But no, it is. It's an interesting thought to go through. What would you do? What would they do? And how easily can we predict what we would do when it's not real? I imagine that a lot of people would have in-depth plans for everything they're going to do with the money until that day that it occurs. And then it would be awfully difficult to not kind of fall into our base instincts. I think it would be. Now, I one other thing though, guys, that I didn't really get into yet, but I think that I have to thank everyone in the community for, is that we officially became a real channel today. So YouTube partnership was actually granted. This Crazy Kryptonaut channel is now a YouTube partner, which was very exciting to see. And I did not expect them to actually make that happen as fast as they did, but they did. And so now we are officially a real channel. And thank you guys so much for making that happen. I know we still have more little things that YouTube and our Google overlords will make up and create in terms of getting more and more privileges as a channel. But now we have an actual channel. And so thank you guys so much Absolutely, that is on account of everyone's efforts, giving those likes and sharing and subscribing. Thank you guys so much. I deeply appreciate it, and hopefully, it means also that more people out there are going to get to join us and learn about it, because YouTube doesn't really put information out there until you do hit a certain point. And so, very, very excited for it, guys. Very excited for it. And we will have to see what all that entails as we move forward. Maybe we'll have new people finding out about us on account of that, but we will just have to see. I'm not really certain what all rights we were given. I only noticed that we had gotten the approval right before the stream started, so I didn't even look into it. I don't know what it meant we got. I think I can make emojis now for everyone to share. I'm not certain, but thank you guys once again. And yeah, I will be exploring that further this evening to see if we don't have anything cool that we now get to do that's a little bit different. Maybe we actually get to, have some Zester emojis. Maybe we can get a Valentino emoji so that people can message Valentino's little cute face as we're talking in the chat. I'm not certain, but I will be checking it out. Zester is growing a mustache. Kugla, I am not. I think it just amazes people how fast it grows. It also amazes me how fast it grows. I do not intend to have one, but I go from nothing to a 5 o'clock shadow every day. So that is the normalcy for me. That is the normalcy. But all right, now that we've done that, let's actually get back to our information. And Kukla says, "I'll take a martini." There we go. There we go. Maybe an apple teeny. All right, though. Yep. Let's go back over here. And so what we already kind of knew from looking at our chart, now that we've gone through and we've learned a little bit about the history of Mt. Gox and that kind of looming fear that really it's speculative. It's a speculative fear. Maybe we should be worried. Maybe we have nothing to worry about. Needless to say, crypto will survive. It will be completely fine, but it could result in us all wishing we had sold before the price went down. So something for everyone to keep in mind. I would highly suggest, if you have a lot of money in crypto, doing a little research into it, just so that you can make that decision. Do you want to be worried, or do you just want, are you willing to wait? Because when it comes down to it, the market will recover. But do you want to have to wait for it to recover or not, is essentially the choice we all have to make. Over here, though, we're seeing, well, all red faces on our sentiment for the day in terms of retail buyers and ETF buyers. Exchange reserve, we're seeing more Bitcoin flooding into the exchanges. Not a great sign for the price. But we are seeing particular positivity from the miners. Keep in mind that the miners control a vast majority of the Bitcoin that exists out there. And so when miners are happy, typically we're all happy. And so that in and of itself is a good sign. But the reason that we're seeing low US investor and Asian investor and ETF investments is something where we really don't have any major point to look at. We don't have any major story. All we can really do is speculate that they're just worried about traditional financial markets. And that in and of itself is purely speculation. But we can guess that that's the reason that we are seeing folks a little hesitant to dip their toes into the market at the moment. All right, though. From 25 years in prison to just 4 months, inside the final verdict on a crypto billionaire CEO Arch Rivalry. So for all those that were not aware of it, of course, we've talked about SBF. And of course, we've talked about CZ. We actually talked about him just on Monday. And so, we know these two characters, but what I imagine many people in the community were not aware of is that these guys had always had a problem with each other. As a matter of fact, CZ regularly tweeted at and ridiculed Sam Bankman-Fried when he got arrested. He made a whole scene out of it because they had always been back and forth. FTX, which was SBF's, Sam Bankman-Fried's exchange that crashed and lost tons of people lots of money, was a major competitor to Binance. I suppose that's a little exaggerated because they weren't really a competitor. They were just in the same industry. And so being in the same industry, they were always butting heads. SBF always wanted to talk crap about CZ. CZ always wanted to talk crap about SBF. And now we see Sam Bankman-Fried getting a 25-year prison sentence. And we see CZ from Binance getting a 4-month sentence. In all honesty, CZ hasn't actually done anything morally wrong. So I don't really see any issue here. Whereas Sam Bankman-Fried, he lied and stole money from people. CZ just broke 3-letter organizations' crazy rules, and that's what they're mad at him about. So I don't really view this as really even being anything close to potatoes and tomatoes. But needless to say, 4 months for CZ from Binance, 25 years for FTX. And I imagine we're going to continue to see the repercussions of SBF's sentence for a while, as he is looking to go out there and start ratting out on a lot of his celebrity and political donors, actually. And so this is something else that hasn't hit any of the mainstream media yet, but apparently SBF is planning on not only ratting out celebrities, he's planning on ratting out politicians. And for those that remember on some of the earlier streams, keep in mind, SBF only donated to one political party. He was the second largest Democrat donor in 2020 on the planet, only behind George Soros. SBF was giving hundreds of millions of dollars to Democratic politicians. And now he is hinting at the idea that he might be willing to start talking about them. Not just talking about the celebrities, but maybe he'd be willing to talk about the politicians. That in and of itself, I can't imagine what he knows. I can't imagine the type of information that was shared with him and things of all that nature in any form or fashion. So looking forward to seeing what occurs from that. That has not hit any mainstream outlet yet. I have only seen that going around on social media and going around in inner circles. I'm not certain whether it's valid yet or not, but I believe that it is. I would expect to see some mainstream outlets commenting on the fact that SBF is planning on turning over some of the politicians soon. And if he's willing to turn over the right politicians and give the right information, I am completely fine with them reducing his prison sentence. I do not care at all, as long as he's willing to give up the people that are screwing over all of our futures. And in my opinion, it'd be a fair trade for him to have a little bit more time in the sun. All right, jumping right back on over here, guys. Let's, actually, Susie, hi, Zester. Is it true we all have to get on QSF for our XRP? Absolutely not, Susie. Absolutely not. Your XRP is fine wherever you have it. If you have your XRP on a ledger, on a hardware wallet, your XRP is perfectly safe. If you have your XRP inside of a centralized exchange, assuming the centralized exchange doesn't have any type of an issue, so say Lobster or Coinbase, assuming the exchange doesn't have any issue, you're absolutely fine. I would recommend, as I always do, Susie, that you have your XRP on a hardware wallet, ledger, Trezor, whatever floats your boat. as long as it is held with you as being the only person that holds the keys, you're good. But I've heard so many different stories when it comes down that have been circulated amongst different Patriot communities and crypto communities saying that I need to own XRP, or I need to have this wallet, or I need to have this, or I need to have that. And if I don't have that, it's all for naught. None of that is true. Anybody that has said that, they were tricked. Somebody tricked them. And unfortunately, they're spreading the information around. Because when it comes down to it, that is not how the blockchain works. There is no difference between your Lobster wallet and there's no difference between your MetaMask wallet and your Trust wallet. There's no difference. All of these things on the blockchain are the same. The only difference is the user interface that you're looking at. You can take your secret passphrase from MetaMask, a software wallet, a hot wallet. You can take that passphrase and put it into a different service, like Phantom Wallet or Trust Wallet, and your crypto is there. The actual wallet that you use doesn't matter. That wallet is nothing more than a cryptographic sequence. It can be moved to any other wallet. I can take my MetaMask wallet from my computer and I can plug it into my phone, and bam, I now have two versions or two accessible points to my cryptocurrency in that wallet. Susie, I personally suggest a hardware wallet. They are not that expensive when you think about the amount of money that you're probably holding in crypto. The Ledger one is $70. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. I highly suggest the second that you own enough crypto that losing it would be genuinely upsetting, I recommend buying a hardware wallet at that point. If you have a couple $100 in crypto and you're not worried about losing it, then don't bother. Don't bother buying a hardware wallet. But if you have crypto that you plan on having long into the future and that you want to be safe, I highly recommend owning a hardware wallet. It will keep you safe, and it will ensure that your crypto is there for the future, regardless of whether it's for you or whether you want to give it to someone in the future. It's that easy. If it's on Lobster, what happens if Lobster goes out of business? What happens if Lobster gets hacked? If those things occur, your crypto's gone. If it's on a hardware wallet, you're good. The only thing you have to worry about if it's on a hardware wallet is someone breaking into your gun safe and taking it, and also happening to have all the other information necessary to log into it. It's a high bar. It's a high bar. You are definitely in the safest position you can be, Susie, if you have it on either a hardware wallet or a paper wallet. Paper wallets are just extremely dangerous in terms of being able to easily lose it or have anything occur that could mess it up. And so I don't recommend that option. I recommend a hardware wallet. Both are technically equally safe. Well, actually, a hardware wallet is still safer. One is just very cheap. And so I would always recommend, regardless of whether it's a Ledger, Susie, it doesn't have to be a Ledger. I only suggest it because that's what I use. I don't suggest anything on the channel that I am not personally a customer of. I have 5 different Ledgers. I have other hardware wallets. I don't like them. So that's the reason I suggest it. Trezor is another great option. SafePal is another cheap option. It's not great, but it's cheap. Otherwise, I would highly just recommend the Nano S Plus. That's what I have. That's where I trust my money with. I trust my money to a Nano S Plus. Yep. Grandma, I have mine in a Ledger Nano S wallet. That is perfect. If it's not your keys, guys, it's not your crypto. And that's a very important thing that we all need to realize, is that we're progressing towards a financial system where we're going to be expected to be the custodians of our own financial future. And that means we have to take on responsibilities. And those responsibilities include keeping your money safe, being wise. And that wisdom is a lot easier to follow when your money is sitting inside of a fireproof safe. It's much harder when your crypto is sitting on your phone. And all it takes is you misplacing your phone one day and somebody stole your financial future. That's how easy it is when all of your money is sitting on a software wallet, on a hot wallet. Oh, Patrick Farley. Well done, Zester, on your channel. Thank you so much, Patrick. I appreciate it. Let us go back over here and get through some of our other news stories for the day because we do have more interesting ones. SEC crypto crackdown continues with Robinhood as lawsuit looms. So, I do believe Robinhood is a publicly traded company, isn't it? I'm pretty certain Robinhood is a publicly traded company. I would highly recommend anybody that is a stockholder of Robinhood take into account this next story. SEC crypto crackdown. Robinhood has accused the SEC of creating a world of confusion around crypto, but continuing its crackdown on crypto exchanges, the SEC may potentially sue Robinhood Markets over securities violations alleged in the popular investing app's crypto unit, Robinhood Crypto said Monday, aka today. In a recent SEC filing, Robinhood Markets Chief Financial Officer Jason Warnick confirmed that Robinhood Crypto has received investigative subpoenas from the SEC regarding its cryptocurrency listings, custody of cryptocurrencies, and platform operations. Despite Robinhood cooperating with these investigations, the SEC sent a Wells notice on Monday, the filing said. The notice alerted Robinhood that SEC staff had made a preliminary determination recommending that the SEC file an enforcement action alleging that Robinhood Crypto had violated the SEC, the Security Exchange Act of 1934. 1934. How does a company that sells cryptocurrency on the internet, on a mobile phone, end up getting tagged by a law written in 1934? That'd be like the founding fathers having gone ahead and written a law in order to go ahead and regulate artificial intelligence. That makes zero sense. That is them pulling up old laws and trying to make them applicable for a modern world. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. How would you even, it's the same idea when they're like, well, why didn't they write about AR, why didn't they write about different things in different parts of the Bill of Rights? Well, because it was 1776. They didn't have any idea these things would exist. I don't know how someone in 1934 was aware of cryptocurrencies. But yeah, needless to say. So for anyone that is a Robinhood, maybe investor, you should probably be aware of this. Nothing here is ultimately that surprising. We know that the SEC is trying desperately to chase down everybody in the crypto space. And Robinhood is just the next one on the chopping block. They've already gotten beat by Ripple. They've managed to beat up Coinbase, but Coinbase keeps beating them also in the courtroom. And now they're going to chase after Robinhood. It's a witch hunt overcoming victory. And I really think that they're setting all of this up so that when something massive happens to our financial system, they can blame crypto. I think that's what they're setting up. It seems as if the way that these regulatory bodies have been acting, that they are trying to create a narrative that cryptocurrency is the enemy. We see Nigeria's central bank. We see the U.S. Fed. We see the German central bank. We see the Chinese government. We see governments all across the planet all blaming crypto for all these different things. And I really think they're trying to find a scapegoat for when everything goes kapoof. When they are all caught and found to be wanting, they're going to point to crypto and say, look, it was crypto's fault. And in doing so, they're going to most likely try to convince us that what we need to do is go to a central bank digital currency and everything will be hunky-dory. Not that evil decentralized cryptocurrency. We don't want that. We want something safe. And I'm beginning to think that's the narrative that they're trying to create. They're trying to write the story about why we need to avoid these things. And they're doing that by attacking us at the institutions that people use. Remember, Robinhood is the same platform that many of us used to buy our GameStop, to buy these old companies that all of these different hedge funds were trying to destroy. It was the platform that the average person could buy with. Robinhood allowed for an average person to go out and invest in crypto, invest in stocks, invest in the future. The SEC doesn't like that. We don't want average American, average investors investing in their future. They might actually get to retire someday. That's not how the system's supposed to work. And so I would not be surprised in the slightest to see this case actually come to fruition. I think that this leak in regards to Robinhood coming out and saying that it's going to happen is probably them going ahead and saying that it is happening. They just chose to leak the information because they wanted to go ahead and get in front of the story. I hate Robinhood. I hate the platform, but I also do not like to see the SEC continuing to come after all of the different outlets that allow the average person to invest. These are platforms that allow you and I to participate. And every time they take away those platforms, regardless of whether I really like the guy that runs the company or not, it's a net loss because they are limiting our ability as retail investors, as citizens. They're limiting our right to freedom of speech. I should have the right to spend my money however I so choose, as long as I am not in any way harming someone in doing so. If I am buying something because I want it, I should have the right to do it no matter what, as we all should. It is our right. It is a matter of freedom of speech, as was codified in the Supreme Court hearing in regards to freedom of speech in terms of elections. Our money and how we spend our money is a matter of speech. And so it is our First Amendment right, what we choose to buy, what we choose to spend our money on. That is a lot of responsibility, and we should all keep that in mind when we go and we shop. You should keep that in mind when you walk into Walmart. You are expressing your First Amendment right when you make a purchase at Walmart, or when you don't make a purchase at Walmart. You are expressing your constitutional rights in that moment. And we need to keep that in mind universally, but we also need to keep that in mind when we see these three-letter organizations telling us what we can and cannot buy. It is not their right. I have the right to buy what I want. The SEC disagrees, and the SEC tends to win. Well, they tend to win, not always. All right, though. New stablecoin law proposed in the United States. What are the pros and cons? And so this was specifically the payment elements of the Payment Stablecoin Act have the potential to be beneficial for American consumers, but critics claim other parts are unconstitutional. Yeah. Republican Cynthia Lummis and Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand have become something of a bipartisan pro-crypto double act in Congress, leading the charge in the push to offer regulatory clarity on digital assets in the United States. Their latest legislative effort has centered on stablecoins, with both arguing that a well-defined framework is needed to protect consumers and ensure the dollar remains dominant as digital payments continue to gain momentum. Right there. Right there. What is the purpose of this bill? The purpose is to ensure the dollar remains dominant. Anyone that tells you anything other than that is wrong. That is why this bill exists. Ensure the dollar remains dominant. And when they say that, they mean the central bank fiat US dollar remains dominant. That is what all this is about. That is why all these laws get passed. It's because they want to protect their dollar. It's a weapon. Our government utilizes our dollar as a weapon. What they really should be worried about if they wanted to start disarming people that are walking around with dangerous weapons, they would start disarming some of these different politicians of their dollars, because the way they use them in foreign countries with terrorist groups, with everything else, is as a weapon. They use them as a weapon. Somebody needs to start checking all of the politicians' dollars at the door, because they should not be allowed to walk in to the House of Representatives with such a deadly weapon of mass destruction in their pocket. All right, though. Jumping over Jack Dorsey. So for those that I assume most everyone knows Jack Dorsey. Twitter founder, everything of that nature, is opening up a company, Block, and it is set to raise $1.5 billion. Fitch Rating notes that Block has used convertible debt for external funding since its IPO and is well positioned to exploit the growth in payments and consumer financial services. So it is. We see another major company, Block, formerly Square, announcing plans on May 6th. They're intending on expanding their crypto offerings. They are intent on expanding their crypto offerings. Jack Dorsey has always been a really big supporter of crypto and blockchain technology. Even during the Twitter days, he was one of the few people that was being somewhat reasonable at times. His company was stolen from him, but he was being somewhat reasonable. All right, though. Continuing forward, guys, because I did just notice the time. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to, as Dwayne says, I see being salty runs in the family. Yeah, we tend to be overly opinionated, Dwayne. We tend to be overly opinionated, and we hold fast and confidently to our opinions and to our beliefs. We don't step down just because of some headwinds. So we are a salty group, but it tends to be because we just have a lot of passion for what we believe in. Well, I am not certain what happened here with this web page, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that one. All right. This is another one. This is just an interesting story for us to end everything on, because it makes you think. It makes you think. Satoshi Era dormant Bitcoin address wakes up after 10 years. According to a Chainalysis report, there are about 1.75 million dormant Bitcoin addresses inactive for over a decade. A dormant BTC address dating back to the era when Satoshi Nakamoto was still active. Remember, Satoshi is the creator of Bitcoin. Has woken up after 10 years. The Bitcoin wallet contained 687 BTC, worth $43.9 million. And it just transferred its holdings to two different wallets on May 6th. That is today. The wallet first transferred 625.43 Bitcoin to an address starting with, I'm not going to sit there and read all these out, and 61.9 Bitcoin to another address. The movement of funds from very old wallets, especially from the Satoshi era, often sparks curiosity amongst the crypto community. This is not a new thing. Most of the time, it's assumed that these wallets have been lost. But keep in mind, the people that were originally mining Bitcoin were nerds. They understood how the technology worked. The vast majority of them did save their passcodes and everything else. I imagine some guy who had just spent the past 10 years just fine suddenly decided that he'd like to be rich. And so he went back and collected some of his money from his old mining. And this article is particularly interesting. Remember, guys, all the articles are inside of the Discord. And so for anyone that is interested, right after the stream ends, I come over here to today's links and I put in the new links. And so as soon as the stream ends, I will be adding all of these, some very important ones today to check into. I would highly advise everybody that is a crypto holder and has a substantial amount held in cryptocurrency, please do come over and check out the MountGox article and also the Satoshi Era dormant Bitcoin address article. Please do check these out. The only reason I say that is because it's important to have this information before it's too late, so that you can make your own decision on what you think is going to happen. If you believe that all of these new holders are about to start selling, well, you should take that into consideration. I don't. I do not believe they will, but I do believe we're looking at a tumultuous market for the foreseeable future. There's just too many things happening. There are going to be sales, probably billions of dollars worth of sales from the MountGox payouts, billions of dollars. That's going to affect the market. There are undoubtedly going to be, I mean, think about it, guys. I have an SEC article every single stream. There is a new company getting attacked by the SEC in the crypto space every 2 days, effectively. We stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every single stream. I have a brand new article of another company that is being attacked by the SEC. So I expect this to continue. It's obviously a concerted effort. And in partnership with MountGox and everything else, this could in and of itself create some really, really extreme market conditions. And of course, we have Kirsten Gillibrand, Cynthia Loomis, and everyone's favorite Michigan Democrat out there harassing every company and everyone on the planet to go ahead and pass these crazy, crazy rules and regulations. So everyone needs to be very much keeping their eyes out at the moment. Absolutely. And so, George, I am going to be looking into Zoom immediately after the stream actually ends. Please do, George, if you would like, come on over to the Discord and leave me a ticket with any of that information. That way I can keep it all organized. If not, Georgie, I will get back on Wednesday when I come on the stream and try to talk a little bit about what I've learned about Zoom or Xamin. So thank you guys so much for tuning in this evening. And look, we even got the original Mark Z for a moment. Governments are terrified of crypto because it removes people's dependency on them. Absolutely. Crypto and blockchain technology is literally the only time in human history where we've had the means to get rid of our governments. It's never been possible before. There's never been a way to verify everyone. There's never been a way to verify our financial system, to verify our electoral system. It's never existed. Not one time in human history. And now it does. It exists now. Blockchain technology is the greatest innovation in terms of decentralization or liberty that probably has ever been invented since maybe the firearm. It is huge. And we all need to be ready to point back at the government and say, no, you're not taking away this innovation. You're not taking away our ability to be free. So thank you guys so much. Thank you always for tuning in and for liking and subscribing. We're a real big boy channel now that is absolutely on account of everyone and people like Kukla and Jeremy and Pomps that have been helping out and making everything happen. Thank you guys so much. And I cannot wait to see everyone again on Wednesday. Maybe we'll have a Valentino emoji because I think I can make those now. So See you, everybody.